I am in the election year. Sometimes things are delayed. Um, I don't necessarily, in one hand, get caught up in the politics because the government's still going to operate and have the same needs, regardless if it's a Republican or a Democrat in need. There's always going to be a government contract. Um, but on one hand, they're still making it harder for those who are underserved and understanding that. And my goal is that you all become proficient, efficient as it relates to small business set asides. First, everybody thinks in this space that you have to be certified and have all of these certifications into play. But today I'm going to dispel that. I would also like for you guys to put your information in the chat,
Mm.
um, contact information, Gmail or email account, because it's important for us that we always understand who we have in the house and also put your background because in this space it's all about teaming. And when I look at the number of people who are currently online, I see that as a contract. You get a piece of the pie, I get a piece of the pie, because in this space, everyone has something to offer, and it's us understanding the importance of collaborating. So, with that being said, I'm going to cut off my camera and we're going to get in and have a little church this morning. This is what I like to say when I start getting into this presentation. And welcome, welcome, everyone. All right, slideshow from beginning. We are the government procurement innovators, your solutions to federal contracting. What I will consistently say as it relates to this administration, that they have really made it a concerted effort to get awards to minority owned businesses. And they started back in 23 with an executive order mandating that these agencies increase the federal contracting awards to minority owned business. And based on the numbers and what I'm seeing, these agencies are adhering to that executive order. And as you can see, the numbers that were shown for FY22, $70 billion went to small disadvantaged businesses. The overall goal was him understanding our community and other communities that we need to increase the revenues in those communities. I always like to open up with my background and who I am and how I ended up here. My name is Paula Watts. I am the founder and CEO of Government Procurement Innovators, better known as GPI. My background starts out, I would like to say I was raised as a government contractor. My first job out of college in Washington, D.C. was an event with a government contractor that was a part of the 8A program. So, by show of hands, can you all tell me if you all have heard of the 8A program? And we're going to talk about it as we go through this process. I ended up attaching myself to one contract that was a part of that program. And every 3 years, I went to a new 8A company because once they graduate from that program, those contracts have to stay within the program and go to another 8A company. So I ended up attaching myself to one contract um, through 6 companies. And I was studying and learning and watching them and really being trained by the best in that days. That was the 80s and the 90s. So in 1996, I opened my first company. First year in business, I received my first $1 million contract. Second year, I applied into the 8A program, received another $3 million contract. and continuing to grow that business to close to $15 million in contracts in 5 years. I had two business partners, one who was just crazy, and one who felt like they needed to add, he wanted to run all his personal expenses through the company. The last straw for me was again a $3,000 custom made pinstripe suit with his initials going to pinstripe. I had my assistant to audit his credit card. He in turn takes her in the elevator and threatens her. I terminate him. He then conspired to with two employees to sue me and the other partner for sexual harassment. He was their alibi. So 2 years of attorney fees, 125,000 in attorney fees, 100,000 to buy him out. I closed the business in 2005. And it really pushed me to my passion because I realized no one was training our community on how to navigate in this space. So I volunteered for 2 years as a score counselor. And after running out of money, I ended up um, applying for a position at SBA. And my job was to service the businesses that was in the 8-day program. I started out in Philadelphia. After 4 years there, I relocated here to Atlanta. And while here in Atlanta, at this district office, they required that we become certified as a contract specialist. And so for me, that was the missing piece to the equation, meaning I'd run a business for 10 years. I worked at SBA almost 7 years, but I wasn't quite sure how these agencies actually put the solicitations together for you to compete on it. And after becoming certified, that made it full circle for me. And I had all the pieces of the puzzles for you all uh, to you all to come together and understand how this game works. We train more than 10,000 businesses on marketing to the federal government, and we have assisted small businesses to win actually over $1.5 billion in contracts across various agencies. I've also self-published a book called That's Crazy, Recognize Crazy and Run. The names have been changed to protect the innocent, but it was detailing some of the experiences and challenges I had in that first business. So what are the challenges in this space? The challenges in this space, and for those trying to get in it, is and what I saw at SBA is that everyone would come to SBA and we would do a workshop. I would tell them, this is how you get in it. And it was great information, but no one was quite sure how to put the dots together. And it was the same thing with these government agencies. No one understood SBA's rules and regulations. So typically, what would happen with people trying to enter this space at SBA, they would send you to their resource partners, and there's six resource partners. And everybody is just gold on the number of people they touch. And it's information based. No one is teaching the process. And that's what the challenges are for small businesses entering into this space. Understanding that government language, understanding what certifications I qualify for, and then what type of documentations will SBA look for when you start applying into these programs. Also understanding that these websites are not connected. Each of these agencies operate on their own, and nobody talks to each other. So based on that, I created this program based on lessons learned. And the first lesson learned was not to pigeonhole yourself in any industry. And I learned that from my mentor. His first business, uh, his first business my mentor pulled me aside because I was marketing to the government as an event planning company, and he asked me, "Why are you, why are you pigeonholing yourself?" And when he said that, it made sense based on the companies that I worked with. I ended up changing my business model to a management consulting firm, and I created divisions. Understanding it has nothing to do with your skill set. Most small businesses start their businesses on their skill set. And most of SBA's resource partners will tell you to start on your skill set, start at your state and local area. You're not ready for the federal government. And that's not true. So the first thing that you have to understand is not to limit your business. In our first module of the program, we teach you how to create a business model that's going to be sustainable in this government. And it may not necessarily have anything to do with your skill set. Secondly, understanding in this space, collaboration is key. You must understand all of SBA's programs and all of these contracts require that you collaborate. Uh, in the second module, we teach you how to collaborate. We're the government because that's what the government is looking for. Can you pull a team together? It's all project management. Third, you must have the infrastructure in place to support the contract. Does anyone know what I mean by infrastructure? You can unmute your phone, I mean, a computer. What am I meaning? This is a dialogue. What do
You
I
have to have having the people in place like attorneys and your vendors and so forth and your payroll and all that in place.
uh, to get to that point? Yes, you must have an accountant and an attorney. So anyone who is currently in business and have employees, you need to make sure that you have what they call employment practice liability insurance, EPLI. Had I had that insurance, that would have covered my lawsuit. No one told me. So if someone could put that in the chat, it's employment practice liability insurance. That would have covered the attorney fees and the lawsuit. When you look at the federal government operates on a fiscal year from October 1st to September 30th. So for you as a small business, it's a peak time and a end time. I mean, a peak time that you need to market to the government and a downtime. Right now, we're in the peak time where you're submitting actual solicitations and responding. The peak time for you to market to them is between October and February, through February and March. Because what happens is during that time, the federal government is operating on what they call a continuing resolution. They have limited funding. So no one's doing it that much, and you're trying to get in front of them to build the relationship. So when opportunities come out, you're in a position to begin to compete on some of these contracts. Why federal contracts? Every year, the government set aside contracts for these programs. SBA established what they call a scorecard, and they grade them each year. 23% of contracts are for small businesses, 5% for women-owned, 5% for small disadvantaged businesses, 5% for service-disabled veteran-owned businesses. They just increased that amount. 3% for hub zone businesses. And so what happens is every year, SBA will score every agency and determine whether or not they met their goals or not. So when you look over here at these programs and the dollars that's going into the programs, it's a whole lot of money. Just as a small business, um, small businesses won over $178 billion in contract awards. The certifications come into play because you're helping these agencies achieve their goals. So what happens is the more certifications you have, the more you're helping that agency achieve their goals. Um, as an example, $100,000 awarded to you as a small business. The agency gets $100,000 credit towards their goal. If they are woman owned, now that agency gets $200,000 credit towards their goals. So the more goals the more certifications you have, the more you helping the agency achieve their goals. And what I realized again when I started looking at the numbers and the people that are in SBA's program, it it's devastating for me after you leave that DMV area. So when you look at South Carolina, and you look at North Carolina, and I look at the number of businesses that are specifically in this 8A program, it's disheartening because up in DC, you have almost 1,600 businesses in that program. So as you can see here. And so what I was finding here in Georgia was that businesses was coming here and winning contracts. So when you look at the state of Georgia, there's 5 major agencies here. You have CDC and you have 5 military bases. Wherever you are located, wherever state you're located, there's always going to be federal contracts. As you can see here in Georgia, it's only 200, and that number has been consistent since I've left them in 2015. And it's been consistent that most of these businesses from DC are coming here to win because there's no competition. Hold on. And then I started focusing on the Black-owned businesses here in Georgia. So when you look at these numbers, it's disheartening. Can somebody tell me what you all see based on this pie chart? Can you interpret what I'm seeing in this pie chart? Anybody? Somebody can unmute and have a little dialogue with me.
Well, hi, Paula. This is Belinda. When I'm looking at that green 0%
Mm-hmm.
total small business awards, Black-owned Georgia, where I am,
Yes.
there's 0.
Yeah.
That's awful.
Yeah.
And then the same thing for the source, the purpose.
The 8A program.
Yeah.
So it's telling me a story. So I've been working with the Atlanta Black Chamber to really be able to drill down and start focusing on those who are not being serviced and for us to get into the game because we've got to be able to have dollars to compete. And just to back up what I was saying earlier and showing that where are the dollars coming from and who's receiving those dollars. So you can see how these dollars really playing out and based on who was winning contracts here in Georgia and from what state. Something is wrong. Something is wrong, right? I'm also proud of one of our proteges. She has been awarded, she has been listed as one of the top 10 prime contractors here in Georgia. She started out in the real estate. She's still playing in the real estate. And I have a lot of our clients from that background. but it's just transferring those skill sets into this space so that you can understand um, it's just business. This is the website that you go to register for, identify opportunities. And what I will consistently say is there's not enough small businesses competing on the federal side. Where if you're looking at some of the local certifications, you're competing with a lot more people. This is the database, sam.gov. It's such a mess. That's what we called it while working at SBA because it's not a very friendly database. This was an example, again, that I brought out to give you a demonstration of the types of contracts that are really set aside for small businesses. The federal government set aside contracts that are $250,000 and below for small businesses. That's what I'm calling the low-hanging fruit. The low-hanging fruit. So this right here is they need high school banners. This was due on May 31st. Do I need to know anything about high school banners? Anybody?
No, ma'am.
What would you do?
I would hire a
Call.
contractor. This is Tamara Gibson. I would hire a subcontractor in order to take care of that concern.
In Buzzard Bay, Massachusetts. That's where Place of Performance is. And these are the schools that they want the banners placed in. So you're going to be screening the government to make sure that whoever you hire have the resources and skill sets to have this amount of banners placed in these contracts. So this could really be a close to a 200,000 contract, just me just looking off at it. Same thing with meeting space. The government needed meeting space in Charlotte, and they're not necessarily looking at your price. When they have best value, they're looking at your experience. So what you're doing on this opportunity is finding hotel spaces and providing a story of why this is the best hotel based on your negotiation for that conference. So is anybody shifting with me right now? That you don't have to know anything about that contract to win it.
Mm-hmm.
I get an amen from the church.
Amen.
Amen.
HUD, I like HUD. HUD updates their forecast every month. So we looked at sam.gov is active contracts. Every year, the agency will have what they call a forecast, where they're going to identify what they plan on spending in that fiscal year. Just to give you an example, these are some of the opportunities that the government is looking to buy in this fiscal year. They're giving you the date when they anticipate it coming out. They're giving you the amount of time or the length of that contract award. They're telling you if it's new, and then they're giving you the industry codes. So what this does for you is allow you to get in front of it before it's posted. Because now you can ask questions. So right here, they saying they're looking for a retirement plaques. Miss Lawrence Wilson is your point of contact. You can now start reaching out to Miss Lawrence now before it's advertised or posted of how many retirement plaques are you anticipating. Now you're in front of it instead of reacting, and you should have all of your vendors and quotes lined up. So by the time it comes out, you're already in a better position. Is that making sense to everyone?
It is. Miss Paula,
Yes.
I see that they have the next codes. Do they evaluate you on whether or not you have that code as part of your certification?
As long as you put it in your update, get away from the certification, just small business. As long as that industry code is in your SAM profile, and yes, you're good. They're evaluating you on your vendors and the people that you're pulling together to support that contract.
Thank you.
I do not have to know anything about that contract to win it. That's not my job as a CEO. In my first business, I went from a project manager to running a multi-million-dollar company. I was no longer doing event planning. And so for me, that's what I'm trying to get you all to shift and understand the business side first. That's why I structured the program the way I did, so that you understand the foundational part and not just be so focused on the contract. Once you understand the foundation and the people and the players, then it's not going to be as complicated. Everyone wants to get into winning a contract, and I want you to. But you need to understand rules of engagement, understand what you're getting into, understanding the government. Because if you get in and mess up, you can't go back. So in order to play in this space, the first thing that you do, you can self-certify as a small business. You can self-certify in the same database that's hosting the opportunities. You can self-certify as a small business and as a SDB, small disadvantaged business. Although many agencies typically don't use this self-certification, because once you're in the 8A program, you're automatically a SDB, and they're killing two birds with one stone. These programs are the programs that require you to apply and be approved by SBA. The 8A program is a business development program. The Hub Zone program is designed on building communities. Women-owned is what it is, and service disabled is what it is as well. And whatever certifications I don't qualify for, that's where the teaming come in. That's why I begin to partners. There's always ways to get around and understand the power of collaboration. The 8A program, which is a program to my heart. I grew up in it. It's the only program that I know that is designed to build your business for 9 years. By being in this program, it allows you to go to any federal agency and they can award a contract up to $4.5 million with no competition. That's called sole source. That's how I grew so quickly. Everybody up in DC was in the program winning $1 million of contracts. So did the church hear what I just said? And can I get an amen for that?
Amen.
Amen.
It's no competition. The Hub Zone program is designed to build community. As long as you're located in an area that's designated as a hub zone and 35% of your employees live in a hub zone, then you can qualify into that program. For the 8A program, previously before the lawsuit, the social disadvantage component of it was as long as you were a member of any one of these ethnic groups, you automatically qualify and met the social qualification. Since the lawsuit, now they're no longer qualifying you under those rules. In order for you to qualify under the social component, you have to write a narrative on how you've been discriminated against here in America. You have to provide details. Some examples And this has always been, for those who did not fit into those ethnic groups. As an example, I had a Caucasian man who came in the program because he had psoriasis real bad. So he was able to go back from high school to starting his business to trying to get a loan, and people looking at his skin and declining him. So he was able to get in the program under that because it's based on you being discriminated against. The other component is your economic worth. Your economic net worth cannot exceed $850,000, minus any equity in your home and any equity in your business. If you're in the real estate industry, on your tax returns, there's going to be, again, an industry code, and you cannot come into the program under the real estate agent brokerage code. You will have to come in the program under the 541611 industry code. So going forward in your next tax returns, you want to make sure that code is associated on your tax return. That is the Administrative Management Consulting Code. And that's all that you're doing in that space. And that's all that anyone's doing that's starting a business is project management. You're pulling the team together to perform on that contract, just to simplify it. If you have any additional real estate or rental properties, that's going to be counted against you. If you have multiple companies, that becomes my heartburn at SBA because part of this program requires that you are full-time under it. And SBA's viewpoint is if we're going to give you 9 years access to these non-competitive contracts, we need to make sure you're dedicating full-time to that entity. And if you have multiple entities going on, we don't know what master you're serving. Any questions, anyone?
Not so far.
The Hub Zone program is different, no term limits. You recertify every year. You also get the opportunity to get sole source contracts in this program as well. The government will also tack on 10% on someone else's contract that's not in that program, giving you a competitive edge. The difference with the sole source in this program and the other programs, and the 8A programs, in order for the agency to award a sole source contract in the Hub Zone Women and Veterans program, they have to be assured that there are 2 companies that can compete, that are qualified for that contract. That's called the rule of 2. So again, both of you, how I'm teaching is 2 of us that are in the program submit and respond on that. Force the government to do it as a sole source, eliminating the competition. Everyone clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Principal
Yes.
office must be in Hub Zone. 35% of your employees must live in the Hub Zone. Don't have to be the same Hub Zone as your business, but as long as it's in a Hub Zone. This is the map. Once you put your address in, it's going to let you know whether or not you are in a Hub Zone. This is updated every 10 years. It's based on the Census Bureau. I'm always fascinated when you look at where the Atlanta district office is, and you can see that office, the SBA office, is located in a Hub Zone. Well, it's not. No, it is a Hub Zone until 2026. But you can see the surrounding areas that are qualified as well. And the reason this is qualify as a hub zone because there used to be a shelter around the corner. So it's always about building the community. The women's program is broken into two components, economically disadvantaged and WOSB. Once you qualify as an ED, then you automatically as a WOSB. I also want to back up and talk about that 8A program and how we run game in that program. That program is a 9-year program. You graduate. Your game is that you're always going to have someone else following you. One of our proteges, Stacy, she's followed the blueprint perfectly, meaning her son came out of the military in 3 years ago, told him get him started. He was a veteran. She started subcontracting. She's been training him under her umbrella. She's getting ready to graduate. Now he's in a position to get into the 8A program. Now her 23-year-old is coming through the program because she's like, I want to do this too. So this is how we begin to create generational wealth to me. The women's program, again, this is the website. This is why it's confusing. There are 3 or 4 different websites for each program. SBA is now in the process of trying to streamline it so that you only have to upload information into one database that's going to cover all programs. This is still relatively new. You can self-certify, and that's part of what you're doing in our program. And I prefer you self-certify because if you use the third-party certifier, you're just giving them the same information to upload into their data, into this database. And so often, I've ran across a lot of small businesses, they don't even know their password or access to this database. You need to know your own stuff and your own information. In this program, and all little programs, it requires that at least someone owns 51% of those entities. You cannot have a 50-50 entity applying into, well, you can, but like with the 8A, as long as 2 people, let's say you have an 8A company, someone trying to apply into 8A, and in each of those companies, 3 partners, 30, 30, 30. That's unacceptable. SBA would now take 2 of those partners, and they would be the ones that would qualify for that program. That doesn't make sense. I want everyone to have the opportunity to compete and qualify. This program is still relatively new. These are the requirements. For the economically disadvantaged component of it, is mirroring SBI, the 8A program. You will have to upload tax returns and profit and loss statements. No minimum amount of time. Again, based on that industry, you can get around working full time. But again, that doesn't preclude you from competing on contracts just as a small business. The Veterans Program, same opportunities. You also get subcontracting across all of them, all contracts and all agencies. That's where the E's come in, the MBEs, the DBEs, all those E's. Any federal agency, any large prime contractor or corporations that receive federal dollars have to come up with a subcontracting plan on how they're going to meet those goals as well. Do I have any veterans online?
Yes.
Thank you for your service. They've now just transferred all of their program over to SBA. There is a checklist that you can go through, just scan that code. You get a lot of the benefits of most of the programs. In VA, you get first priority. They're taking 2 weeks for that veteran's certification to be approved. For the women's program, it's a backlog. of a year. I now want to spend also a little time on some of these websites so that you can see for yourself. Also help you to understand what all these certifications that everybody telling you that you need in order to compete. When you're looking at the corporate certifications, these are the certifications that they're looking for. That's where the minority supplier diversity council come into play. These are all the federal contracts, and in order for you, programs, and in order for you to compete in the government, you have to be registered in sam.gov. Every state is going to have a DBE. Your DBE, which is Disadvantaged Business Enterprise, is certified through DOT. Or if you have, like here in Georgia, MARTA, up in Philadelphia, SEPTA, they process those certifications. And then you're going to have county and state certifications. But to me, I would rather for people start from the federal and then come down, because at this level, state, local, and corporate, you don't know who you're chasing and how much money they have. Where in these databases, it shows you how and where the money is. So with that being said, I'm going to take you to some databases. Does anyone have any questions? Any questions? I went through it pretty quickly.
No, thanks.
Okay, this is the website that I like the most. I call this it's an off-brand, but it connects to SAM. And you always want to go to SAM. The reason I like this because every day I can go in and shop and see what the government is looking for. Here is the first stage of the government's acquisition. This is another way for you to get in the government get in your name in the plate before that opportunity comes out. They will issue what they call a source of salt notice, and that's more so than market research. They're first trying to determine what businesses out here are qualified. Once they determine, and if there's enough small businesses that have responded to this market research, then they'll set it aside to the small business program. I like this as well because it's organized based on industry. So any industry, I can go in and see what the government is buying for that day. And what you see here is the number of opportunities that have been posted for today in that area. Every industry is going to have a letter associated with it. And again, I look at all of it because the government buys everything. That's why there's no need to pigeonhole yourself. See, they need a Roman Catholic priest. Do I need to be a Roman Catholic priest someone? How would I even go about trying to find a Roman Catholic priest someone?
Ask a Roman Catholic.
There's an archdiocese.
Yeah.
So you would catch the call the archdiocese in California and negotiate if they could provide a priest to serve at this place. So that's how I'm saying you get out of your comfort zone. Don't pigeonhole yourself. When you click on it, this is the industry code. You're going to always go to sam.gov, and that's the official database. But to me, it allows me to just go where I'm looking for, and it's going to tell you what they're looking for. So you see here, they're saying, we're just looking for a quote for this. And it's going to tell you. So you're the middleman for the government. Is this making sense to you?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to show you another one of our students who, This is the database that we help you all create a marketing strategy around. Because again, you heard that the 8A program, you have 9 years in it. In this database, it's going to show you who has those contracts. So we're teaching you how to position yourself to partner with those who are getting ready to contract and have those 8A contracts, because it has to stay in the program and they can't keep it. So they're looking for you, and half of them have not even started looking or thought about their exit strategy. So we're helping you to help them to get an exit strategy and flip those contracts. This young lady is a young lady who was winning contracts while we were in the training. This one right here was one of her first contracts that she won. And this was later. This was a 5-year contract, right? You see where she's located here in Georgia. You see it's 109,000. And you can see what is she doing? Someone
Lawn maintenance.
in Florida. She just hired a subcontractor and she's the project manager. This bid right here is similar to the one that I was just showing you. Where they needed a hotel. This is the low-hanging fruit. 3 months in and out. They needed a hotel space. She found a hotel cost space, and their cost was $48,000. She put her bid in and she won. Her bid was 104. And look here, how many people was she competing with?
Where would you see that?
One.
Oh, wow.
That was a little $60,000 profit in that short period of time. That's what makes sense to me. And then showing you all how to dress up. It's all perception. Again, Miss Dawson, she came in when we met her. I met her at SBA. She was a realtor. We changed her name to management consultant, and then she created divisions. Oh, now let me go to her divisions. These are her areas of expertise. You're building a business based on your people, not necessarily your skill set. This was my former boss when I started in the 90s, and she's won almost $700 million in contracts. So when you start looking at what she does, right, we're all doing the same thing. And what we're doing through our program is dressing you up so that you look like everybody else, right? Communication. Right. Everybody does this. You do social media, everybody, event planning, they just calling it different. And all you're doing is finding people with the skill set to do the work. Am I hitting home for anybody?
Yes.
Yes.
Huh? And that was the whole purpose of creating GPI. I knew there was a disconnect. Everybody else's information, we're process driven. Right now, we have almost 2,500 people in this database. And so my whole goal was teaching you the language, teaching you how to team with each other, and understanding if I'm here in Georgia and I see a contract in California, I have some GPI looms that's gone through the program and understand partnering, have them to weed out some of those vendors that they know. That's what makes sense to me. Does that not make sense to everybody?
Yes.
Okay, so our program is 3 weeks. 9 weeks. Sorry, y'all. Hold on. 9 weeks. And we've broken it down into 3 modules. Business ready, regardless if you are registered, I keep doing it, regardless if you are registered in SAM or have an LLC, everyone has to start the same place, because you have to understand what SBA is looking for and what type of documentation will you need. The whole goal after that module is to, you should have completed your SAM registration and start looking at those RFQs. I've taken everything from my first business and created templates so that you won't have to reinvent the wheel. Just follow the blueprint. We are providing you with the foundation. The second module is government ready. Now that you're dressed up and you're looking like everybody and you're ready to go to the prom, now we're helping you to create a strategy. Looking at some of those databases and 8A companies that are graduating from the program that you continue with. The third module is all geared around the All Small Mentor Protege program. In that program, it allows a large business to come in and mentor you. Preferably, I would like for you to have a mentor before you even think about 8A, because now you're walking in the door with juice. And that mentor is able to provide you with loans, financing, proposal writing, accounting. They're all of their resources. And a lot of small businesses say, well, why would they want me? Because they can't get access to all those $1 billion of contracts awards I showed you in that first slide. This program is $24.97. I'm trying to minimize everyone's cost. If you bring in a second person, it's $1,000. You two just split. And if you register this by Monday, I'm taking off $100. If you're a NARAB member, a part of NARAB, I'm an affiliate of them. I do have a special discount. Please just email me or put it in there. I'll let you know what that discount will be.
A quick question.
Yes.
You're a member of who?
NARAB, National Association of Real Estate Brokers.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I thought you said name that.
NARAB.
Okay.
Tuesday is the next cohort. You're meeting weekly with a live instructor. We have office hours. I'm generally on the office hours on Tuesdays from 6 to 7. That's when all of the classes come together. And I go a little bit more deeper in what the instructors are teaching you. Thursday, for those who may be challenged with the lab and their homework assignments, because every week, at least in that first module, you'll have homework and lab assignments, but it's all applicable towards your business. We have additional support for you. These are some of the templates that you'll get as part of the program. What I'm doing is the same thing that I'm teaching you guys. Building up a team of subject matter experts. Ms. Thurman has been retired from SBA 2 years ago, and she's been doing the training. She was a senior level government person at SBA, and she oversaw all the federal agencies to make sure that they received their goals. I wanted to have a mixture of people that had understand SBA, and I will consistently say, unless you work on the inside of SBA, no one understands the rules and regulations. And then I have people on the industry side that's literally walking people through the process. We also have a self-paced. Everything is pre-recorded. It's the same information. You go at your pace, your pace. You have access to the office hours and the lab sessions. And that is $14.99. These are the deliverables that you would be required to complete for each module, individual and team deliverables. And this is the book that I've written if anybody wants to dive into that. But I also wanted to show you one other thing. People always want to know, well, how do I really make money in this space? This is a contract where I came in second. Every time I look at it, my heart hurts. So I'm doing this for the truth. This was a $29 million contract. I came in second. I lost on cost. So when you look at how the government and how you're getting paid in this space, this was, it's based on the positions. These are all contingency hires. These weren't people that were just sitting on my payroll waiting for me to bid. The government understands that as a small business. So these are all people that I'm presenting to the government as contingency hires. Contingent upon award of this contract, these individuals will be hired and paid this amount for the 5 years of the contract. And as you can see, they're giving me raises, well, I put in raises each year. The government also is going to reimburse me, that's been irritating me, reimburse me for my benefits, your benefits. So they know it costs me to hire people. So the government allows me to offer them benefits, and my accounting system is set up this way so I can capture that cost. And they're going to reimburse me for whatever benefits that I'm offering the employees, including myself. The government also is going to provide some other additional reimbursement as it relates to my overhead. This is where my salary came out of, the partner salaries came out of. Rent, the government's reimbursing me with rent. That's why I like the other young lady, Dawson. She bought a building. That's why I told her that's what I regret. When I was not at my peak, I should have bought a building, because now I know the contracts are going to pay for the building. This is what they call other direct costs. This is pass through. You see, I had a subcontractor. And then the government also is going to reimburse me in this other pool. They know that I have to travel a lot of people on this contract. I need to pay a bookkeeper to process all that reimbursement and travel. And part of the partner salaries came out of it. And then when it was all said and done, this would have been my profit on that contract had I won. For the 5 years, it would have been 1.2 million just in profit on that one contract. All right, did the church see all of that?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes, it is.
we have any questions?
Hi, yes, how you doing?
I'm good. Introduce
good.
yourself, your name,
Hey.
where you're from.
Iris Williams, Brooklyn. This
Yes.
is my second month on the seminar, so I am joining the class this month as part of my birthday gift. So I always hear, on YouTube University that a lot of people say you shouldn't join 8A right away. What do they mean by that? First of all, I don't, I have like an LLC and all that, but I don't know what I'm doing with it. So my point is two things. By joining the program, do you help people structure whatever they have going on, even if it's not effective? And
Yes.
also, what do they mean when they say they wouldn't join 8A right away?
Yes, that's what I said we do in the first module. We teach you how to create a business model that's sustainable. Why not join the 8A? Because while I was servicing those businesses at SBA, I had 40 businesses that was assigned to me. Out of the 40, only 5 or 6 was really winning contracts.
Mhm.
That's because no one was teaching them the process, and you have the time on you. You have the clock on you. Whereas I say play on the outside, compete and learn and win some contracts as a small business. Learn how to partner with these 8As that are graduating. And this right here shows the number. That's 202 vendors, 8A program, and out of 200, this is the only amount that they're getting.
Go back up.
So it's telling a story. Did that answer your question?
Yes, thank you, thank you.
Anybody else? Any questions? No questions?
I have a question. My name is Christina. I'm in Arizona.
And how did you hear about us?
I Googled realtors and government because I work with the government a bit. Not necessarily, more like a city.
Uh-huh.
But and one of the videos that came up was your video interviewing Labricia. And
Mhm.
so that was more than I expected. I had no clue realtors and people in real estate could work in that capacity with the government. But my question is, what would you say, what position should we be in going through the program? Because I had the pleasure of speaking with Dina yesterday, and she was saying, like, you just do the work. You have to do the work. So you know,
Amount of
what does
time.
that mean, the preparation, like
Yes.
going to the program? What's the ideal candidate to say, okay, you're in a position to really take advantage of everything I'm teaching and put it into practice immediately, not sit on it and forget and all that.
Everybody. I got my 23-year-old coming in. Everybody starts at the same place. I don't guarantee that you're going to get all these zillions of dollars because you have to do the work. But what I say is you got an hour and a half a week in the classroom. You got the other resources with the lab and office hour. And then you have to spend, I would say, at least 2 to 3 hours a week outside of that because it's your business. And we're shifting people's mindset because the system has been designed to teach us how to be laborers, teach us they don't teach us how to be a CEO. And that's what I found the biggest challenge for everybody, even those that had businesses forever. They're still self-employed and being laborers. So we're teaching you off the jump how to be a CEO and structure a business model that's going to look like everyone else, and it's okay. And you're just going to find the people to do the work.
Okay,
If
I
I
like
can
that.
simplify that.
No, I said I like that.
Okay. Anybody?
One other question to follow up with that. Um, it looks as if as you're going through what's being taught that that it would be wise to have funds set aside to restructure what you may have or whatever the case may be. Would you say that's correct?
That is correct. You
Okay.
need to start lining it up, but even if you don't, because you will have to finance those contracts at least a month. That's why we say go after the low hanging fruit. You can get contracts $5,000 or $10,000. Build it up. Or if your credit and your thing or things aren't lined up as it should be, there's other resources. SBA has this other program called micro purchase that provides line of credit and access to capital. They're managed by Community Development Finance, and I'm working with an organization that's going to come on and talk about that because that's the biggest fear for everyone. We can take y'all to the water, but then you get to the water, you win. You got to be in a position to cover that cost at least for 30 days. Was that helpful?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Any
Yeah.
other question?
When is the next course starting?
It's June 18th.
Okay, and then the one after that is 9 weeks later.
It'll be in August. We'll take off July. Okay? Any other takeaways? Can I get 3 takeaways before we close? Anybody? What y'all hear?
Infrastructure, having infrastructure in place is the biggest one up for me. And that EPLI insurance.
All right, and make sure you all put this information, your chat information, will send the video to you, recording to you afterwards. Thank you, Mr. Long. Anybody else? Can I get another takeaway? Ms. O-
Collaboration.
Collaboration. Very good. Very good.
And don't pigeonhole yourself.
That's right. The government's huge. Okay, well, I thank you. I hope you all become part of our community. It's a lot of money that needs to be spent and position ourselves. I think that's it for me. I do have my team online, Dina and Shayla.
Hey,
Um,
Shayla.
I don't see.
Yes.
Jumped off. But if you have any questions, you can call us, email us, and I look forward to you all hopefully being part of the team.
Yes. And I will reach out to everyone as well, just as a follow-up. So I'm Dina, and thanks for being with us on this Saturday morning. And Christina, yes, she's in Arizona. So she's on another time zone.
All
It's
right.
so early here, but nice to see you all.
All right. Y'all have a good one.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
thanks.